Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming to our meeting. My name is Vanessa Wright. I am at LBJ High School. I am the ninth grade counselor. I want to let everyone introduce themselves.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Janet Silva. I am with the Human Resource Department at the City of Austin. I am really excited to have this partnership with Workforce Solutions, and I'm excited for everyone's participation today.
Awesome. Okay.
I'll go ahead and go. Hi, guys. My name is Bethany Queen. I'm also with City of Austin HRD. I work under Janet as her intern. Like Natalie mentioned, we've been sitting on these and they've been amazing. So I'm just glad to be a part of another one, and I hope it goes well.
Me too.
Ed, would you like to go?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Ed Haycock. I'm the division manager for IT infrastructure for Austin Water, which is a business unit of the City of Austin.
Awesome. And hi, everyone. I'm sorry, did you have anything else to add? I didn't mean to cut you off. It might be a little laggy. Sorry. My name is Natalie Obregon. I'm with Workforce Solutions Capital Area and one of the outreach specialists with North Austin ISD. And today I'm just excited to be part of it. So we're going to get started. I mean, I just wanted to welcome everyone. I'm really happy to have this partnership as well with the City of Austin. And you're just joining us today for a unique webinar series that we're interviewing professionals for in-demand fields. So we can learn about the different industries and where like the career pathways that people like Ed take to get to where they are today, and the education opportunities in Austin. So without further ado, take it away.
Okay, awesome. Again, thank you, Natalie. We're going to go ahead and start with our first question. Okay, so Ed, first tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do for the City of Austin.
Well, as announced, my name is Ed Haycock. I am a division manager for IT infrastructure for Austin Water. And what that means is that I manage and I'm responsible for all things IT that connect end user devices to the network to the internet, and the network to software services and tools which help run the business of water. So we do everything from end user support for help desk for people who are having trouble using their desktop and mobile devices, all the way to supporting server infrastructure for mission critical systems that track our team as they go through and work on break fix, repairs, implementation of pipeline, etc. So we're kind of the glue that holds the IT world together, as I would say here.
Well, tell us a little bit about a typical workday and everything for you, your main responsibilities.
Yeah, it's interesting. I get a nice eclectic mix, which I really enjoy. About if I were to say overall, 50% of my job is strategic planning. IT and technology is a fast-moving environment, and because we work for the city and we are beholden to the citizens of Austin, the process is a little slower than, say, in my counterparts who are working in the for-profit sector, because we have to have ample time for review, both on the financial but on the implementation side. So, it requires a great deal of planning if you really want to be successful in this space, because you really have to think ahead and really think it through, because you have all these steps that you have to take before you can actually get to doing it. So 50% of my time is really strategic, thinking ahead, business visioning with my customers, my internal customers. 30% is probably budget and finance, purchasing, administrative. As with anything government, there's lots of rules and regulations of how and what you can do with your spending and your budget. Again, to protect the citizens of Austin and make sure that we're spending, our stakeholders' money wisely, right? So lots of steps, lots of review. So in this role, this has probably been one of the most resource intensive areas that I've had to spend in budget, finance, and review in my career. So it's been interesting. And then for me, as senior management for the team, I still spend about 20% in technical engagement, even though we run a technical department and we have a wide array of servers and services. I only spend about 20% of my time in meetings working on those types of issues, visioning for those types of issues, building direction at the operational level.
That's pretty awesome. You've got a lot on your plate, sounds like. How long have you worked for City of Austin?
I've been with the City of Austin, believe it or not, only a year and a half, but I have come from a world of nonprofit. Prior to coming here, I was the Vice President of Technology for the National Domestic Violence Hotline. And then prior to that, I ran a nonprofit consortium in the state of Michigan that supported over 50 nonprofits in a 3-county region with network infrastructure to drive down the cost of technology for nonprofits. So I've almost 100% of my career, about I'd say 90% of my career has been in the nonprofit and service space. So moving to the city made a lot of sense because it's still in service to citizens. So it's still in keeping with my background.
I hear you. Well, tell me this, what level of education and training did you need for your position?
That's an interesting question. For my position here, one would say, in a typical role like this, you would want a bachelor's in management information systems or computer science, a heavy computer related field. And a lot has changed in the last 20 years in that area, where a lot of places, they just want a computer science, but now they're looking at computer systems and implementation with a business perspective. So both are acceptable now. And for those who are more computer centric, they would typically like you to have some kind of business degree or MBA to help as you move up in the management to help understand the business impact of what you're doing. The nice thing about the City of Austin, though, is that the way they employ is that they'll substitute years of experience for education. And so there are other paths to get to where I am if you're looking at city government or City of Austin specifically. You can substitute years of experience and other certifications for that education when you interview. Our CIO, for example, came out of the military, started his work here and then got his degree afterwards and built that as he went along, and now he's the CIO. So there's lots of ways to get there.
It's pretty awesome because you kind of answered my next question I was going to ask. I was going to ask you about technical skills and for the requirement, but you answered that. Thank you so much. Well, tell me this. What should I be teaching in my classroom to prepare my students for employment in a company like yours?
Well, it's interesting. Most people would, STEM is all the rage, and I love it. I'm a nerd at heart, right? And I love technology. I come from a long line of nerds. And so you would say STEM, but I think what's equally as important, what I found in my career doing this for 26, 27 years now, is people skills. Gone are the days where somebody who's into information technology or computer science can sit behind the screen and work on what they're working on in a vacuum and shield themselves with the screen and work on code and solving IT problems. A lot of what I do is working with different businesses and different people in the organization to help them solve their problems with technology. And so good oral and written communications is absolutely a must. And if you're one of these people who likes to build stuff and be that nerd who likes to get in the background and really create new systems and new opportunities, if you don't know how to convey that and look for feedback from your customers, it's very hard to get that done. So in my past life in the nonprofit sector, I spent a lot of time writing grants. And in those grants, I would spend a lot of time explaining complex technical problems to non-technical people to go get money. Well, that's no different here. You still have to get your funding, and you have to explain what you want to do, how you're going to go about doing it, and what your intended outcome is, so that you can get budget for solving problems. So the more you move up, it's less of a technical skill set, and you rely more on that softer interpersonal communications written skill set.
Thank you. I mean, that is a lot, I tell you. That's great. So tell me this, what ideas or materials do teachers need to have in their classrooms?
That's a very good question. It's a very big question. I mean, at what age, what grade do you start? When do you want to start talking about technology? When I was in school, you had one computer or 2 computers as a resource for the entire school, and now whole districts are putting compute devices in the hands of every student, right? So we're already moving in that direction. But there's lots of things that you can do at different levels to engage students on the opportunity of technology and what it means. It would be hard to say without saying it specifically, pick a grade. What would you like them to learn or know at that age? It would be tough, but I think it's just as simple as saying, you know, sometimes as students now, we take technology for granted. We take the tools we use for granted, right? Where do they come from? How are they deployed? What is the work behind that is kind of valuable.
How do you feel that how has technology affected your position?
Oh, well, it affects it every day. It's a very fast moving environment, and technology changes. And so when you hear people say, well, I have a long-term plan and here's where I'm going to be in 5 or 10 years, in IT, 5 or 10 years is a lifetime, right? 3 years is a long time because technology evolves and moves so fast. And additionally, to make things more complex, there are a lot of nefarious folks out there who are trying to use technology for negative purposes, to financial gain, to hold data hostage. I'm sure you've heard in the state of Texas over the last year, several months ago, there were 20 municipalities that were impacted by a crypto locker virus, right? So, you know, people who are going to try to attack your environment are going to do that all the time. You have to keep up with it. So it's always changing. Just when you think you've plugged a hole that's a leak over here, you discover another one over here. So it's every day, every week, every month, reviewing your environment and making sure that it's as secure as it possibly can be. I do think one of the challenges with that too, being in the city, is what I've come to find is that I feel, and this isn't a negative, a knock on the city, is that we're behind. We're behind in technology because of the way our environment works, because of the review process, and again, being beholden to the citizens and having this methodical process. We have to budget and plan a year to a year and a half before we can even start to think about execution of that plan. And in that year to year and a half, the world could have changed completely, right? New threats, risks, and even new opportunities. It's not all bad. There's new opportunities, new tools, right? So it's kind of like when you're trying to align technology that you want to implement in the budget and the mechanism for securing the funds to actually make that happen. It feels like you're trying to thread a needle from 3 feet away. You know, you've got this target, you're back here trying to line it up, and a lot can impact how close you get to that vision. So it does have challenges.
Very good analogy. What about during the week? What is your work hours?
Well, I typically work from 7:30 a.m. to 4:35 p.m. Half hour lunch, somewhere in between there. I try to be around core business hours. As a utility, we have some early morning folks. They hit the road. They come in at 6:30. They're out of the building by 7. We have 24/7 folks as well, because you got to keep water flowing. But my core business hours are 7:30 to 4:30. But I'm often taking calls or handling emails in the evenings and on weekends as needed.
Okay. Well, share with us some positive aspect of your job.
Well, one, I love technology, so I couldn't be happier working in technology. I still enjoy IT. It excites me every day. So that's the good news. But I think really it's service to community. When I was younger, if you told me that, you were going to start your career and then you were going to pivot to nonprofit and then into government, I'd say you're crazy, because all the real cool stuff happens in the for-profit sector, and that's not true. It just isn't true. There's so much exciting things, so many exciting opportunities in the government and nonprofit sector, and the added bonus is that it's service to community and service to others in a way that you may not consider. You're not driving to stakeholder or your shareholder value. Your stakeholders are citizens and those who need the resources. And there's something it feels really good about doing something every day that has a positive impact on people.
That's true. Now, what advice would you give a student who's interested in your job?
My first advice is if you like technology, play with as much technology as you can while you can. It's amazing. It's amazing what you'll learn and what you'll find that you like and don't like. There's hundreds and hundreds of opportunities, thousands of opportunities in the world of IT. And so I really think playing and exploring is your first thing, especially when you're younger. That's really going to help define where you might want to be, whether you know it or not. So, and I would say find technologies that interest you for sure, work and find those. Do seek opportunities to play and engage with technology. Do have a continuous learning mindset. Once you've learned something and you've mastered it, don't say, well, I'm done with that and this is what I want to do with my career. Explore the tangential opportunities that technology brings. As for some things that I wouldn't do, don't forsake your other studies, as it were, just to go do nerdy stuff. I kind of made that mistake earlier when I was younger. I would freely admit, and I will be the first to admit, I spent a summer in summer school for English before my freshman year of high school. I just didn't think it was that important. I wasn't that good at it. But now if you ask me today what the most important thing was for me to be successful was learning how to communicate in the written word, especially when it came to writing grants for 20 years. And so a shout out to George Dufour, my English teacher in high school. Thank you very much. But yeah, you can't say, well, I'm going to do this, so I don't really have to worry about that. It all works together, right? Don't hide behind your screen would be another one. I know a lot of kids who are very shy and they use technology. Even the way kids use phones today as students, it's like, now I'm sounding old, kids. But getting them on the phone for a conversation is hard, but you can text back and forth, right? So there's this disconnect between you and the individual. But in the business world, it's very important that you have relationships with people and that you see them face to face and you can communicate. So in order to get what you want done with technology, you have to come from out behind the screen and engage your stakeholders and your customers and the people who are going to use the systems and tools that you're either building, planning, or designing. That would be my broad brushed advice, I guess, at this point.
I think that's great advice. I really do. What would you recommend teachers do to strengthen the relevance of school to the workplace?
Strengthen the relevance of school to the workplace. It's a good question. I mean, many people who are interested in a career in information technology nowadays look at products instead of skills. And what I mean by that is like Cisco has a certification and Microsoft has a certification and software tools like Salesforce have a certification. And you'll see a lot of people who are coming into technology skipping certain education in lieu of certification on specific products. I think it's important, the important value of school is to highlight the fact that well-rounded skill sets ultimately will make you the most successful. And it's not to say you can't be successful without continuing education, but I find those who have the most success have a more well-rounded experience, and that when they're talking about technology, they need to talk about it in terms of context of the people who use it and how you're going to engage it. Certifications are good, but they become a hamster wheel, as it were, that if you don't keep up with it, you're gonna lose it and you're not able to go on to the next thing. Or I don't know if you're familiar with a product called Novell. Do you remember hearing anything about Novell way back in the 80s?
I do. I think I worked on Novell. Yes, I remember.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. A lot of schools did. So Novell was before Microsoft Networks really kind of took off. And there was a gentleman there by the name of Ken Kuski, who I had a good fortune to meet and work with in Midland, Michigan. And he invented the Certified Novell Engineer. And the Certified Novell Engineer was this course that you would take, just like a Cisco or Microsoft or Salesforce, where you would go and you would learn. And you would then be skilled in that tool set. And that provided value to Novell because they knew that the people they were sending out, if you passed the certification test, you knew how to use your product and serve your customers. And customers liked it because they said, oh, you know enough about Novell to pass the test, so you must know what you're talking about. And so those folks got paid more money and were really looked at as valuable in the workplace. But what I learned from Ken on the back end is for Novell, it was also a money generation device. So not only was it there to serve the purpose of learning, but everybody who was taking these classes and getting certified, Novell made money off that. It was just another revenue stream. And so there's a little bit more to it than just being certified. And then once Novell kind of went away, if you didn't move off that hamster wheel of Novell, where were you going to go next, right? You needed to go learn something else and learn something new. So you need a continual learning mindset, and you have to look to the future, and you can't put all your eggs in one basket of saying, well, I'm just going to get certified on certain products. Products come and go, but skill sets don't. So to recommend to teachers, again, the relevance of a wide variety, a wide footprint in knowledge and understanding, the ability to pivot and be a lifetime learner. And if you are going to go the certification route, identify when you need to say, maybe this product is reaching an end of life and there's a new opportunity, and have that willingness to go find that new opportunity. I know that's long-winded, if that makes sense, but.
No, it makes plenty of sense. And our students need to hear that information.
Yeah.
Tell me, would you be willing to participate on an academic advisory board?
Yeah, I've done this a couple times. When I was back in Michigan, I was on the board for the Midland ISD, which is the Midland County Services Agency for Midland County, 4 school districts. And I also did some work with my alma mater, Michigan Tech. So I'd be happy to spend time and support in any way I can.
Okay. What about speaking to our students in the class?
Well, I'd be happy to do it if they'd be happy to have me, I guess.
They would love to have you. I mean, this is a lot of great knowledge that you're sharing. So what about allowing the students to job shadow? That's something we are really leaning towards.
I would love that. Jason Kelly, who's a manager on my team, he also enjoys working with students. And this last year, we committed to getting 2 interns, 1 college intern and 1 high school intern. And if it wasn't for COVID, we would have been able to finish those programs. But we really enjoy that. And it's fun seeing students come in and kind of experience what a day in the life is like. And then especially interning is nice because they get to see how that plays out over some time. So yeah, we'd be more than open to that.
Okay. And would you be open to mentoring student as well?
Sure. Okay. Sure, absolutely.
I think they would really benefit under your leadership. So I think that would be great for us.
You say that now, then they'll come back with crazy ideas.
No, I think they'll probably want to stay. Well, we've come to the end of our interview, and I really thank you so much for your time and wealth of knowledge, Ed. So it is time. Do you have anything else you want to share?
Nope. Just go boldly, lifetime learning.
Okay.
Embrace technology. Be well-rounded.
Well, I like that one there. Well, again, thank you so much, and we appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.